Okay, now that we have both of our sides complete, we're gonna go ahead and fold them the way I taught you guys earlier. So just from one corner to the next, like this, and put them side by side. Okay, should be looking a corner like this. Okay, and it should be, I decided that I wanted my ends of rounds to be in the back of my project, so I layered them as is. So I put them in the back, folded the other top, the other side on the top, same for the other side. Okay, so that's just gonna stay down there. For the way that I made this originally, I cut off the end of my yarn, right? And I took a piece of the yarn and I used it to sew on top so it can close here and on the other side. But I don't want to do that this time. This time I want this project to be as low sew as possible, so we're just gonna go ahead and crochet it together. So for that, we're gonna go to the piece right here where we ended our project, right? And this will become your sleeve right here. This is going to be the opening for the sleeve. And we're just going to turn it to whatever side works for you. I'm going to take this one and put it on the side for right now because we don't need it right now. I'm going to go ahead and grab my crochet hook. Grab my crochet hook right here, and I'm just going to go ahead and put in my hook in that loop from whichever side you want right now. And we're just going to go ahead this is the corner right here. We're going to go ahead and slip stitch to the center stitch right here, right? Like if we were going to start a new cluster, like we've been doing this entire time. And right here, we're going to grab our other side. So it just directly connects to the other side over here, right? Fold it, insert our hook into that chain 2 space, right? And we're just going to slip stitch that right there. Now we have that sleeve opening. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to slip stitch back loop and front loop only until we reach the end. If you don't know how to do that, I will show you real quickly how that works. Our stitches have front loop and back loops. I know it's very blurry right now, I'm so sorry. But you're going to go ahead and insert your hook into the back loop only from your front side, and then from the back side, you're going to insert your hook into the front loop only of the same stitch according in the back. So this is 1 stitch, 2 stitches, 3 stitches right here, the third one. On this first one, which would be the third counting from, you know, right to left, sorry. And you're just going to yarn over both loops and do a slip stitch. And you're going to do that until you reach the end. So insert your hook, back loop, front loop, both sides, slip stitch, back loop, front loop, slip stitch, back loop, front loop, slip stitch, back loop, front loop, slip stitch. And you're going to continue that until you reach the end of that sleeve to the next corner over here. Okay, so as you guys can see, it is placed onto my mannequin at the moment. And what I want you guys to see right now is that obviously it's not going across the body the way I want it to. So I'm going to show you guys what we have to do next in order for those sides to come a little bit closer, those two sides to come up a little bit closer and be able to close correctly so it's not just a stretched out as a problem. So I went ahead and brought back over here my original design because I wanted to figure out the measurement exactly that I need to for this project to go around my chest area right here. All right, so from one side to the other, it is 26 across. So that means that it's 26 times 2. So that goes up to 52 inches. So that's the amount I want to add for my current project right here. So we want it to be, for my size, we want it to go around 52 inches around. So 26 in the front, 26 in the back for the front piece. So, and for this one right here, this is where I sewed in the 2 panels or the 2 pieces when I folded it. From there, I went ahead and I worked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more rows of granny clusters going down the chest area, going sideways through the hip area, going around that hip area, and going back up to join to the chest area again. So towards the back and then the front again. I did that 5 times for each side. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for the other one that I'm doing with this one, with this color, and see where I'm at. Because after that, I took off a few stitches right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clusters from the top. And I only worked going down and around, but still leaving the 5 clusters right here. And I did that 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And then I sewed it together. So let's bring back the other piece and show you what I mean. Okay, so here we are at the join right here where we slip stitch across to close our shoulder part. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and we're going to add rows until you think it's satisfied enough to where it reaches your neck area. Okay, so for mine, I'm going to go ahead and do 5 rows because that's what I did with the last one. And I'm going to try it on. And if it at 5 rows, it reaches my neck area, because remember there's a space between your shoulder and you know, and that neck. So that space right there also needs to be covered. So I'm going to show you right here how to start your increase row right here going up. I chain 1 and I go into this space right here, pull up a loop. I did 1 single crochet right there, and I'm going to work another single crochet on top of that and 1 more. just how we've been doing this entire time to make our stack standing double crochet. Right there, I'm going to work 2 more double crochets, creating our first cluster. And again, without leaving any spaces, like we've been doing. This chain 2 space, we're going to ignore it, and we're just going to jump into the next one. So 1 cluster here, we're going to jump into our next cluster right there. Okay. We're going to continue making clusters until we get all the way back to the beginning cluster right here. Remember, since we're working the entirety of it, you're gonna keep on working. Here is a chain 2 space, so you have to work a corner right there. After that chain 2 space, you're gonna keep on working. There's another chain 2 space right there, and then you're gonna keep on working until you meet back up over here. So there's going to be 2 corners that you have to work into to complete that round. All right, so I've made it right here to the end. There is 1 space right here, but since we already worked the cluster right here, we're not going to work another one right there. We're just going to go ahead and slip stitch right there. Okay. And we're going to slip stitch 1, 2, and from here, in that next space between those clusters, we're going to work our next row if you have to work another row. And I'm going to continue this pattern until I've reached 5 rows of, clusters. And then I will show you what you have to do, to continue working, that little other piece right here that's for your chest and leaving the space for the neckline. Okay, so I'll be right back. All right, so I did a little bit of measuring after I finished my second row right here. And I think this is enough to continue on to the chest portion right here, chest/neck hole opening. So right here, so I'm going to leave 3 clusters open, right? And I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch all the way to this stitch right here. I'm leaving 3 neck holes open. I'm leaving 3 cluster openings for my head to go through. So up to here. 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. 1, 2, 3. So what we're going to do, we're going to slip stitch, like I said, 1, 3rd cluster, 1, 2, 3 clusters right here, and build up my cluster right here, like we've been doing. And we're going to continue doing clusters until we go all the way around. And I'm going to go ahead and mark it with one of my stitch markers right here. Okay, this is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We're going to go up to here. So I'm going to mark this one to be my last one, to not go past this one. So it's going to end right here. All right, so I am here at that last cluster we spoke about earlier. Okay, and remember, we're not going to be working into that chain. Into that space right there where our stitch marker is. We're going to go ahead and, for the first time, turn our work. Okay, now this is the back side of your work. We are going to do a stacked standing double crochet. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to work into this next space in between the 2 clusters. We're going to work a cluster in there and skip into the next cluster, work another cluster in there. And we're going to continue working clusters until we reach the very first cluster of this row. Okay, so I just did my last cluster right there. This is the edge of the neckline right there. I'm going to go ahead and in that first double crochet there that we did, this is the stack standing double crochet. I'm going to go ahead in that top chain and just do a double crochet right there and pull out my yarn right there. I'm going to go ahead and measure it to see if around is the measurement I need and get back to you guys. All right, so now that we have all of the increases we wanted to do for the chest area, we are going to make sure that our project is in the way we need it to be for the sewing or crocheting to work. So when we fold it, we want one side of the increases to be on the back side because we haven't cut the yarn yet. And we want the other side to be looking at you in the front side. So this is the front side, and the other one should be looking in the back side. That's exactly how we want it. So now we're going to go ahead and fold it like this. And we're going to do exactly the same stitch we did to connect the shoulder. We're just going to go ahead and slip stitch this baby up. So let's go ahead and do that. It should start in the same way the other one is. So one double crochet here, one here, and then the cluster, and the same for the other side. All right, and we are going to want to do the same thing on the other side. However, right here, I am going to cut the yarn because the finishing touches for this shirt that I'm making is going to be in a different color. If you are going to make it in the same colors, the finishing touches, which is just the borders and stuff, you are still going to cut one side of the yarn. The other side, you're not going to cut it. All right, so if you're not switching colors, you're just going to go ahead and continue doing this without the changing of color. If you are going to change colors, this is going to be a very easy transition right here. You're just going to go ahead and put your hook into that stitch right here where you just closed off. And you're going to put your end over the hook. And you're going to grab your new color. I like to put it around the hook and hold it with my index finger and my thumb against my project. Pull the loop up, yarn over, pull a loop, and then tighten that color and make a single crochet right into that same space. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and mark it with a stitch marker. Like this is my first stitch right here. And we are going to go ahead and continue single crocheting in each and every one of these stitches right here. On top of every double crochet, you will do a single crochet. So I'm not done yet. I just wanted you guys to see what we are going to do right here in the next joint right there. Since in the first one, we did one right here in that stitch right here. You're going to do one right there also. So you're going to skip that chain one space and just go into that next single crochet right there that we did, or slip stitch that we did. Do a single crochet right there and skip this join right there and just go into that next hole right there. Again, I will be single crocheting over my tail from before. And now we have 2 stitches right there to replace this join stitch right here. So it's not like going inwards. So your project doesn't go inwards and it stays straight. All right, so now we have reached the end right here. And this is completely up to you. I'm going to slip stitch right here to close up my stitch, my row, sorry. This is completely optional. This is just the way I'm going to do it. If you would like to do it this way and you are able to, go for it. First of all, we're going to chain one up and we're going to insert our hook in between the V right here. Oh, my camera is really bad right now. So each single crochet has a V in between. I know it's really not focusing. You can kind of sort of see it. It's a V right there and a V. In those V's, in between those V's right there, you're going to insert your hook through and make a single crochet in between each and every V single crochet. And instead of doing, if you do this, instead of doing a regular single crochet, it's going to stack it up. And it's kind of going to give it a knit look instead of a crochet look. It's still crochet. It's just going to give it a different look. This is completely optional. If this is too difficult for you to do, or just too time consuming, because it is a little bit more time consuming, you can just do a second row of single crochets right on top of the first row you just made and call it a day, which I wouldn't blame you if you do that. All right, so finally we are here. This is again the bottom part, and we're gonna go ahead and cut this yarn because we don't need it on this side anymore. And I'm just gonna pull it out and work on that later. Now, keeping the same side, I'm just going to turn around my work on to work on the next side. We are going to do exactly the same thing here. However, because we have these side stitches right here, I want to show you guys where to work your stitches. So again, we're going to do it on each one of these corners right here, like we did in the last one. So we're just going to insert our hook right there, insert single crochet right there. And right here, we're going to add 2 single crochets, one in the top stitch right there, and another single crochet in the bottom stitch. So the way you can break down a double crochet is exactly by how it sounds, double. So just 2, one in the top stitch and one in the bottom stitch right there. Now I'm here at my first cluster. I'm going to insert my hook in the first top of the double crochet, the second, and the third, completing my first cluster right there. And we're just going to keep on working these clusters. Remember, for my size, there's only like 6 clusters right here. I'm going to keep on working these. And we will be doing the same thing we did in the bottom, like what we did in the bottom. And just so you guys know, we will be doing the same thing for both of the armholes. We will be working single crochets. And we're not going to be working it, sorry, that's the bottom part. We're not going to be working it up here because this is the part that is going to be seen on your arm. You're just going to go directly under it. So right there. And just in either of these 3 stitches or whatever, wherever you want to do it, I'm going to start it right here. So I'm just going to put my stitch marker right there. That's where I'm going to start. And just do 2 rows of single crochets around. And the same for the other shoulder or armhole, sorry. Again, I'm not going to start it from up here. Not from here. I'm gonna, split it and work it from the opposite side. All right, so now that we finally finished everything off, we're gonna go ahead and use our darning needle now and sew in your end. So this is the only sewing you will have to do, unless you just like slip stitch right there on the top of your first single crochet and just tie it off. But I don't like to do that because I don't like the knot on top of there. So I'm just gonna put my darning needle through that V right there and insert it back to where the yarn came from. So in here, pull it through, and on the back of it, so inside, I'm gonna put it in this stitch right there, going across. I know it looks terrible right now because of the lighting, but I'm just gonna put it in there and make a knot right there. Pull it tightly. Do that one more time in the same spots. And then I'm gonna go ahead and hide my tail. Like so. Just putting it in between those stitches right there. Pull through. Give it a nice tug right here. And cut off that yarn. And go ahead and do that to all of the other ends you have. After I'm done doing this, I'm just going to put it straight in the wash. Wash it. I'm going to do it a cold wash. I'm going to put a little bit of soap so it can smell like me. Cold wash, and then I'm going to let it air dry throughout the night. So I'm just going to put it in a hanger and let it air dry. I'm not going to put it in the dryer.